Today, the Bored Ape Yacht Club launches a new token for owners. And we wrap up our week in Austin, Texas for South by Southwest. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Pippa Stevens. Crypto prices were in the green, reversing early losses, and traded about 0.2% higher on average by noon Eastern. Bitcoin gained around 0.7% since yesterday and sat right at $41,000. Ether prices rose by more than 3.5% in the past 24 hours, and Cardano's ADA token gained 0.2%. To give us more context on what's happening in the crypto market, here's Crypto World's Tanea McKeel.
Crypto is continuing to rally on the heels of a big stock market rally this week. Bitcoin's performance versus equities, I think, is particularly noteworthy. The price is off of its all-time high by about 40%, but it's kind of hung in this narrow trading range, call it the 35,000 to 41,000 for a while here, despite what has been going on in the stock market, where investors are seeing unprecedented levels of volatility that analysts tell me today isn't really showing any signs of normalizing. Investors are still in this risk-off period, and they may not want to reallocate back into crypto until the Fed signals that they're easing off on tightening financial conditions. The prices this week, there is a lot going on in the world, but it's still all pretty Fed driven. So all eyes are still on the Fed going forward. Another thing someone noted to me today is retail activity is pretty depressed right now. There's been a lot of focus in the media, from us included, on the institutional interest that's been pouring into crypto for the last more than a year now, but the retail investor is still the dominant force in the crypto market, and they are still sitting on the sidelines. They tend not to participate when the price, is moving sideways like it has been. But for now, stocks are generally up, on track for their best week, and crypto, of course, trades a lot like stocks, is up along with it.
All right, let's also fill you in on a couple of headlines. First up, a regulatory roller coaster for Binance. Here's the latest. The company says new users in Ontario, Canada are restricted from using its platform, and the exchange will eventually cease trading for existing users as well. But this was actually supposed to happen last year. See, Binance had told users in June 2021 it would halt services by the end of the year, following a battle with the province's regulator. The exchange then reversed course in December, saying they were allowed to continue operating. Now, the exchange says that decision was, quote, not correct. Next, there's a new token on the Ethereum blockchain, but there's a catch. You can only get it if you own a Bored Ape NFT. ApeCoin was created by ApeCoin DAO, and if you're holding a Bored Ape Yacht Club or Mutant Ape Yacht Club NFT, you're entitled to a set amount of tokens. These tokens give holders the ability to vote on community proposals within the DAO. Okay, on to our main story of the day. Crypto World has been at South by Southwest talking to all kinds of creators and innovators in the industry. We got a whole lot of stuff to show you, and here are just some of the highlights.
Cryptocurrency creates this great opportunity for us. As we get more and more renewable generation, in particular wind, and wind is operating at night, we have an excess amount of wind, and we need to find a home for that. Otherwise, we just have to turn the wind down, and it's such a great resource, we shouldn't be turning it down. So crypto has found a way to come into our market and to take some of that excess wind in off-peak periods. And then when we get to peak period times, they're very quick to remove themselves from the market as prices increase. So it's a great opportunity for us.
There's a lot of excitement right now with cryptocurrency, and a lot of it is in the trading of the currency. Quite frankly, a lot of it is in speculation as to what the future might hold for how these technologies can be applied, the use cases. I want us to actually develop those use cases.
Inside of Ukraine, we can see people trying to flee Ukraine for safer countries, like they're crossing borders to Moldova, to Poland, etc. They need to leave their wealth behind. They can't bring it with them because it's either jewelry, it's gold, or money in their banks, or real estate. That's why we talk about Bitcoin so much, because with Bitcoin you can flee your country at any point. Nobody can take it away from you. Nobody can steal it. It's all in your head, 12 words, or your hardware wallet. Again, this is sovereign money. This is why we preach it. The event we see taking place in Eastern Europe once again highlight why people need to take this sovereign approach, why they need to decrease the dependency on anybody or any one particular state. Now we see Russian people who may not be supporting the current government, or they might just not be interested in politics. They're just living their life. They're not violent people. But now they're being basically ostracized by the rest of the world. They cannot run their business anymore. They cannot travel just because of their nationality. So those Russians who had second passport before are now still able to travel, still able to run their business. They now can do banking based on their other nationality.
A digital dollar versus a tokenized dollar. The tokenized dollar is superior in every single respect. So all currencies will ultimately go this way. Then the question is, well, what about things like Tether and DAI and other currencies, other tokenized money that has not been issued by a government? What will happen to those currencies? I think they will still exist. And the reason is because if you look at what the US will do or China, they may only allow, for instance, banks to actually directly use their tokenized currency. China may only allow Chinese citizens to use their tokenized currency. So the benefit of things like Tether or DAI, that's an algorithmic stablecoin, is anyone who has access to the internet and has an account on one of those open permissionless blockchains can get access to that tokenized currency.
Second Life is continuing to grow. All of these companies that are playing around with virtual worlds, and I think we're still playing around, all of us. It's still early. You're not using it every day, I bet. I'm not. So we're still not quite there yet in terms of making it work for everybody, but I do think that we are going to see more and more of it. COVID obviously took us all a giant step in the direction of maybe socializing online, maybe going to a live event online, maybe going to a conference like this online. We now have the possibility that we might want to do that at least sometimes. And so there's going to be a lot of product and a lot of technology work to follow that opportunity. And we're definitely going to start spending more time, but I think it's going to be more gradual than the hype we're feeling around it right now, where everybody, look at this conference, is just saying metaverse, metaverse, it's all the metaverse.
I think there are a couple of things that we need to do before we get to real mainstream adoption. It's hard today, and that's because we haven't really put a focus on user interface and customer experience. I think that's one thing. I think we'll make progress this year. In fact, here at South by, I talked to a group of startups saying this is a big gap. We need to have startups that go fill that gap. So I think that that's one. The second is we're just starting, and I also believe we need more diversity in this space. And so we are working to get more diversity because we're at the beginning and we need to hear all voices, Black, white, men, women. I mean, just every voice needs to be heard as we shape the next generation of the internet.
We'll be sharing those full interviews over the weekend, so head over to cnbc.com/cryptoworld to watch them all. That's all for this week, but Crypto World will be back on Monday, and we will see you then.